Welcome to another episode of Miami Cop Talk. Visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com. With us is Robert Asencio and Raul Correa discussing the latest issues in public safety, law enforcement, what's in the news with invited guests. And again, visit us, help us grow our audience. We are one community, one voice. And let's get ready to start another episode of Miami Cop Talk. Welcome to another episode of Miami Cop Talk. I'm Raul Correa, and I am by myself today. Robert Asencio is out in the field. He's discussing topics and circumstances with some of our partners and sponsors and some of the local law enforcement professionals out there. But I'm going to go ahead and hold down the fort. If he calls in while I'm on the episode, I'll try to patch him in, and maybe we can continue and have a robust conversation on current affairs and things that are going on. But I'm going to hold this episode down to only a few minutes. We're going to discuss a few things. One of the things that we're going to discuss, for those of you that care or don't care, hey, the Hollywood Oscars were last night, and I don't know that anybody was watching. If you look at a few years ago, they had 40 million people watching. Now they have like 9 million people watching. And I think if things keep going the way they're going, in a couple of years, there'll be no one watching. They'll be sitting around entertaining themselves, which is pretty much what the Oscars is, them celebrating themselves in Hollywood. I know someone accepted an award and made some bizarre statements about police killing 3 people every day and every other day and every day and so on and so forth. And listen, I don't believe the hype, don't believe the propaganda. The police are out there doing fine work. We back the blue here on Miami Cop Talk, and the law enforcement professionals in the United States are out there risking their lives to serve their community. They do a lot of good in community relations. They do a lot of good in many areas. Now, the fact of the matter is, hey, is there a bad cop here and there? There is a bad person here and there everywhere. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of police officers, I will go off by saying 98, 99% of police officers are amazing individuals, amazing men and women that are risking their lives to serve their community. Now, the fact of the matter is, yeah, there are some people that are confronted by the police and unfortunately lose their lives. Do we need police reform? Hey, you know what? I'll let those in, sitting in bigger chairs and in higher places than I am make those decisions. But the fact is that law enforcement is constantly being reformed, and police officers are constantly being introduced with new laws, new policies, new procedures, new tactics, new training scenarios. So there's constant reform. I don't think there's any profession that's reformed as much as law enforcement. You know, if you look at the way policing occurred 50 years ago to the way policing occurs today, a lot of things have changed. I don't know that there's any other profession that has a camera monitoring you for everything that you do. And police officers have welcomed them. They got body cameras. It'd be nice to see politicians wear body cameras when they're discussing bills up in our state capitals and in D.C. Hey, you know what? It wouldn't be bad to see the president of the United States wearing a body camera while he's discussing things. The fact is, may sound silly, but law enforcement is doing a great job under the circumstances. We need to maybe shout out to the media saying, hey, give it a break, guys. It's hard enough to do the job, and they're making it even harder to recruit and retain the good men and women that are out there risking their lives every day to protect our communities. Let's talk about other things. The fact is, while there are a lot of crimes occurring and officers out there addressing these crimes, I think the media is not really focusing on the things that really are important. Like, for example, there are people killing themselves out there in this community, killing each other, I should say. There were over 16,000 murders last year in the United States. Well, you know what? To the guy in the Oscars, that comes down to like 44, almost 45 people murdered every day. Every day. Now, the fact is, Detroit, Michigan is the most dangerous city in America, according to stats. You have a 1 in 51 chance of being a victim of a violent crime in the city of Detroit, Michigan. And Detroit's a beautiful place considering the circumstances. Beautiful people live in Detroit. But man, there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of, you know, issues out there in our communities, and maybe we can use some of this media time and the propaganda that is being used to slam our police and make the job harder. Maybe it could be used to try to uplift and edify some of these communities and need a lot of help out there. Look at Chicago, man. Chicago, 4 people were killed this weekend, 21 wounded in shootings in Chicago this weekend alone. We got to stop the violence in this country. And the violence in this country is not being perpetuated by law enforcement. And you know what? When you call the police and they show up and there's violence that they're being confronted with, sometimes deadly force is used. And unfortunately, some people end up getting, I should say, the short end of the stick when they confront the police. And it's a horrible thing. But here closer to home, I want to, reach out to everybody out there that's listening to Miami Cop Talk and say, we're not immune to it here in South Florida. Over the weekend, we had a beautiful young man, beautiful 3-year-old boy, killed by the name of Elijah LaFrance. He was in North Miami. The area was North Miami Avenue, 158th Street. If anybody has any information on that, please reach out to Miami-Dade Police. They would really like to hear from you. 305-471-2400. Or listen, you can call Crime Stoppers, man. Crime Stoppers, 305-471-8477. Reach out to Crime Stoppers, crimestoppers305.com. You can remain anonymous. There are rewards out there. And the fact is, the reward is real, man. It's a $5,000 reward if you got information that leads to the arrest of who killed this beautiful young man on April 24th in the North Miami area of Miami-Dade County. So let's try to help bring the person that took Elijah LaFrance's life, beautiful 3-year-old young man. Listen, guys, the police are out there working hard, doing a real good job, and the media is slamming them. So to all the law enforcement officers out there, to all the men and women in law enforcement, keep up the good work. We back the blue here in Miami Cop Talk. Try to ignore the rhetoric. It's just, again, a segment of our population that's trying to divide and conquer. And as people divide and conquer, the snakes slither themselves into power and continue to just dominate and continue to divide and conquer. So let's ignore that in law enforcement. Let's try to do the best we can with what we've been given. And my hat goes off to all the men and women out there in law enforcement that are doing great jobs. Again, before we sign off, this was a quick episode of Miami Cop Talk. Robert Asencio hasn't called in. I know he's out on the road. I was hoping to get him to call in so we can discuss a couple of things. I know we wanted to continue to talk about the Chauvin thing, the Derek Chauvin officer that was found guilty of all charges in the trial. We wanted to talk about the Dante Wright thing a little bit more. And we wanted to discuss what happened just recently with the 15-year-old girl that was shot by the officer that she had a knife. If you're watching the news, you know what we're talking about. So stay tuned to Miami Cop Talk. And we're going to be addressing several issues in the near future. We're going to start Mondays with Miami Cop Talk. So, stay tuned. We're going to try to reach out to our community every Monday with episodes and interviews and whatnot. Reach out to us on MiamiCopTalk.com. Reach out to us 305-814-TEAM. That's TEAM. Together each accomplish more. Our number's on our website, MiamiCopTalk.com. And we want to thank all our sponsors, all our partners. We want to thank all the men and women in law enforcement. We back the blue. Thank you for your service. And again, Miami Cop Talk, another episode. I'm Raul, signing off. And for myself and my partner, Robert Asencio, thank you for supporting us. Spread the word. Help us to grow our audience. Help us to make Miami Cop Talk a bigger sensation than it's been so far. We've been out on the air for a little bit over a month and a half, almost 2 months. And we've been really surprised with the feedback we've been getting from all our community listeners and and partners and sponsors out there. We really want to thank you and keep up the good work. Again, MiamiCopTalk.com. Thank you for listening. You have been listening to Miami Cop Talk. We hope you have enjoyed this episode and visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com to get the latest on all our broadcasts. We want to thank our partners and sponsors that have made Miami Cop Talk possible. And on behalf of Robert Asencio and Raul Correa, we want to thank you for listening to Miami Cop Talk. Stay connected and visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com.